dedicated church ministry for many, many, many years. But this man was suffering with pornography. So what this man did was he committed suicide. And the reason why he committed suicide was because he couldn't come out and tell his church, I need help. I need help. This is what I'm suffering with, so I need you to pray for me and I need you to support me. And we don't see that happen because oftentimes we look at our pastors to be our God in a way in our church. Our pastors can't do no wrong. That's the pastor. He can't sin. He's perfect. He can't be suffering with pornography. No way. He's a pastor. He needs to live perfectly. But that's not the case because all our pastors, as much as we do, we all struggle with different types of things. And I know this church, because last weekend at our Get a Grip, we had confidential questions that your youth, your children, your nieces or nephews asked us confidentially. I don't know who was asking these questions, but as we took questions from the box, I read one question that said, what do I do when 80% of my family is offering me drugs and alcohol? Those of you who are with Get a Grip, you remember that, right? We remember that question. That's real. That's real. There's already tell it. That's real, and that was the youth from your church. 80% of my family is offering me. Oh gosh, sorry. I can't get you caught up. That's okay. Are you too excited? Somebody doesn't want me to share the message. That's right. Okay, so yeah, 80% of my family is offering me drugs and alcohol. We all know that. We all heard that question. When I read that, I wasn't surprised. I was thinking, oh, there's a youth from the West Park Church who's suffering with this. No, because I've seen it happen in my family. I've seen it happen in my school. I've seen it happen in my community. I've seen it at my workplace. So I'm not surprised that it's happening within the church. Another question was, how do I know when I hear a still voice if that's God, if that's Satan's message? Well, I don't know. I have to speak with that person and let them know what my thoughts are. But bottom line is that there's our youth in our church who need God. There are youth in our church who are speaking, who don't have a voice to speak out. Politics, Pharisees, Sadducees, the law keepers. Jesus comes in and says, how long do I need to be with you guys? Why aren't you getting the point? You don't get it. You're missing the point. The point is that you need to minister to people in the church. The only way that you're going to get the point is if you demonstrate the love of God. You can plan a calendar for 12 months, 24 months, great. That's fantastic. That's fantastic administration work. That's excellent. But if there's one family who is struggling financially, who needs help to pay a mortgage, are we going to be able to make room in our calendar for that day, for that family, to minister to that? If there's a youth who has been in and out of jail, are we going to take one day from my calendar and just minister to that person? If there's families going through divorce, are we going to take one day from my calendar and just sit with that family and say, hey, what can we do today quickly in the church? Today we're going to change our entire sermon, and we're going to change our entire Sabbath just for the family. This family needs Jesus right now. Amen. I'm not even on par with what I'm supposed to be doing here, so I apologize for that. Okay, I'm going to get back to the Father. And I know that I've gone on and on and on about how much the Father loves the Son because we know that He demonstrates it. We know that He wipes them and He picks them up. He says, Jesus, I'm here. Jesus, please help me. This is my only son. This is my only son. I need you to help my only son. Jesus, what more can I do? I don't care if I have to fall to the feet of Jesus in front of everybody else watching me. I don't care if I'm a Jewish man in the society, if I hold the rank in terms of the church and in terms of my family, but I don't care. I'm falling to the feet of Jesus. So church, I'm here to tell you though that everybody, the same way that this father saw his son, he didn't see somebody who he was embarrassed of being seen in public with. Everybody else is embarrassed to be seen in public with this boy. Because he's dirty, because he wears the same clothes, because he vomits what he eats on his clothing. Big deal. This dad didn't care. This dad did not care. This dad loves his son so much. He said, son, I'm going to come with you and I'm going to take you and I'm going to do whatever I can to heal you, son, because I love you. Because I love you, I'm going to do this for you. He never gave up and said, no, you know what? Andy didn't look at me and said, Mirna, I can't, I'm busy, you deal with her. She's your daughter. You deal with her. I'm not going to deal with her. No, my husband ran to my daughter, picked her up, cleaned her up, because he loved her. He couldn't deny that love of her. Parents here, I know how much you love your children. We love our children so much that we do anything for them, anything for our children. If it just so happens that our child breaks their arms, we want to break our arms just to see what that pain feels like. I know when I was giving birth, my mother was here crying by my side because she didn't want me to experience that pain. She said to me, if I could take your pain, I would take it. But Maya sprained her arm a couple years ago, and I looked at mine and said, gosh, like if I could do anything to take that pain, I would take it. And that love is so real. It's so real because we love our children that much to see the Father never gave up on his son. He never did. The entire church, the entire family gave his back on him. The Father was always there for him. So I'm trying to tell you here, church, is that I know that there's some of you here who may feel like you're the shame of your family. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what it is. I know what I go through personally, and I know what that shame feels like because I've been there, and I'm going to share that with you in a couple of minutes. Regardless, though, whether you feel like you're the dirty one in your family, if there's somebody who's not here today, we have representatives here from many, many families. If there's a family member who's not sitting next to you today, if there's somebody who left the church years ago, somebody who's sitting at home saying, I don't want to go to church, church isn't for me, administer to them, minister to them. That's all we can do. We can't turn it back and say, well, this person was also coming to church 5 years ago, they don't care. Walk on. No. You know why? Because my Father didn't do that for me. When I walked away from God, Jesus hounded me, chased me, begging, Mirna, when are you going to come back? When are you going to come back? When are you going to come back? Come back, come back. I know you were there once. Come back. He never gave up on me. There's people in my family who I beg, come to church, come to church. Let's just go to church, be public. Just think we're public after, just come. But this Father, he never ever gave up. So what I'm trying to tell you, church, is that God is saying, I don't care if you feel that you're the shame of your family. I don't care what you've done. I don't care if your family's embarrassed to be seen in public. I don't care if your father's embarrassed to have you as a son. I don't care if your mother doesn't want to go to your school. I don't care because I love you. And I'm never going to turn my back on you because I love you, because I'm your Father and I love you. So here is my biggest point, church. Earlier on I was saying, the boy vomits it clean, the boy falls it clean. In that verse in Matthew, it's saying the same story. It says that the boy throws himself into the fire. The boy throws himself into fire. So when the boy throws himself into the fire, who jumps in front of him? Can you picture that? If you see somebody you love throw themselves into a fire, what are you going to do? You're going to throw yourselves also in front of that fire to prevent that person from being hurt. I know you feel like you're in that fire. I know you do because I know I felt that. And I know that you feel like you're in that fire. I'm telling you this today because we witnessed this last weekend. We know that. We know there's people in this church, family members of this church who are in the fire. We know this very, very well. If there's anything that you think is holding you back from getting in that fire, if you feel like you're stuck there, I have excellent news for you, and great news for you. And that news is that when you're in the fire, guess who's in the fire there with you? It's Jesus. Jesus is saying, don't throw yourself in there. And if you're going to go in there, I'm going to be there right by your side. And he's in there with you. Because that's the love of God. That is what the love of God is. And do you want to know who is begging for you in heaven? Who's begging for you in front of the Father in heaven? It's Jesus. Jesus is saying, God, please forgive Mirna. Please forgive her, God. I'm here in need because I love Mirna. I'm here in need because I'm trying to bring her to you. Mirna needs you. Mirna needs you, and I'm pleading and pleading and pleading for you to please accept Mirna. Please heal Mirna. Please bring Mirna back. And that's exactly what Jesus is doing for us, for all of us, regardless of how shameful we feel. Earlier on I told you that I felt like I was ashamed. I'm going to share a story with you. I got pregnant at a very young age. I got pregnant 3 weeks after my 18th birthday. Shame. That was my shame. The fact that I'm not married, I had just turned 17. What do you mean I'm pregnant? And I left the church. And it wasn't as much that I left the church because of that. I left the church because the church turned it back on me. I was ashamed of my church. The shame of my church. Nobody wanted to have a pregnant 18-year-old girl sitting at the front of the pew. Nobody wanted that. Everybody knew that I was pregnant because I couldn't hide my pregnancy. That's a sin that's easily visible to everybody, right? Cheaters, though, you can't see that sin, right? A drug dealer, you can't see that sin in the church. You can't see that. There's many sins that you can hide. Liars, you come to church, you cover up, you're fine. But I'm pregnant and I'm 18 and I'm showing. I can't hide this because if I could hide it, I would hide it and I would continue to come. But because you can see this and because I know that you're turning your backs on me, talking about me, I'd rather not be here. Because if this is the person that I'm going to become when I see somebody down the road pregnant in my situation, I don't want to react like just that person. I can't believe that my church did that to me. I can't believe that my church turned their back on me. Not once did my pastor call me and say, Mirna, I want to pray with you. When we thought it was Torres. I don't care if you put my daughter's name in the bulletin. Nobody cares to visit her. Don't put her name in the bulletin if you're not going to pray with me.
That's right.
I'd rather you not.
Exactly.
I understand that there's discipline in the church, right?
That's right.
I would very much rather you take my membership from me and tell me, Mirna, this is why you can't come to our churches because you messed up. I would understand that, but don't let me keep my membership and allow me to walk in and then turn your back on me. Take my membership instead, I don't want to be here.
That's right.
I can't believe it to this day. But church, I'm here to tell you though that Jesus was behind me the entire time. Mirna, come back.